This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and alright, we're going to talk about episode 3 of season 1 of Sony's Powers series that they're hosting on the PlayStation Network. Through the power of PlayStation Plus, I get to watch it for free. I need to check and see how much it actually costs for people who don't have PlayStation Plus, because there's still a lot of people out there who don't have it. Just newsflash, not everybody wants to play competitive multiplayer or multiplayer games. There are people out there who are just happy playing single player games, and with that, PlayStation Plus is a necessity. It's not a necessity. You know what I mean? So anyway, this episode, this is, I said in the previous review that it's going to take about 3 episodes or so for it to kind of hit a groove, and I thought with this episode we started to get a lot of momentum. I shouldn't say a little, but a lot of momentum going towards the plot, the storyline, the characters, and things like that. Start out with something very, very weird where we have a superhero. Forget what his name is. Trip Hammer, I think they called him, or something like that. Anyway, he was telling this guy, look, all you need to do is attack me and you'll go free. You'll get amnesty. And that's it. That's the deal. And this guy's like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. So he's hyping this guy up. He gets him to attack him. And he decides, okay, to do it. And then this green light comes on and his powers disappear. So he's like, well, where's my powers? But then seconds later, guy's head explodes. And you see the guy, Trip Hammer, explode into rage because apparently he's trying to figure out some way to get rid of people's powers, which I think is crazy as fuck. It's going to be extremely interesting to see how he figures that out, and also to see why, because you saw him having a conversation with someone else and they got into really a huge heated discussion. He mentioned how you told me in 50 years my kids will be dead, and that's why I went into this with you and all that. And I'm sitting there like, okay, what the fuck is going on between those two? This is kind of crazy here. What's the deal right now? So yeah, interesting, very, very, very interesting goings on here so far. Then of course you have the chase for the little girl. Walker and his partner Griffin, they're searching all the world for this girl, but in the midst of this, another plot part of the case falls into their hand, where this little punk kid who showed up in the first episode, who was levitating, trying to show off, and he's been hanging around. He's one of those kids who hang around in the whole young kids power scene, that be taking the drugs and hang around that club that the power who died in the first episode had went to, searching for some young meat. Anyway, so they found him laying on top of a truck. Basically, he fell out of the sky and hit it really hard, and the impact killed him. So they're trying to figure out how did he do that, because his power wasn't that special. He could levitate, and they said he could levitate, I think 30 feet or something was the highest that he can go. So it wasn't like his, he had serious flight powers or anything like that. So they were trying to figure out how did he kill himself. It eventually comes out, this drug, of course, that people have been taking, one of the effects of it is it's kind of a boost to your powers, and that's why it's gaining traction with the younger crowd, because think about it, you already got a superpower, and then you take this drug and you're just you're added some extra power behind it, kind of like a video game power up, so to speak. So that kind of explained how he got, how he died, and kind of help Walker and Griffin, point themselves in the direction of Royale, who they've been eyeing anyway, trying to figure out what's his connection to the drug, how is he distributing it. So in the midst of trying to find out about this kid and find Kalisa, they ended up running to Royale's club, where they also ran into Retro Girl, that little girl is like, she's tripping me out. She's with Royale, and she's like all comfortable with him. Then she runs away from him. She runs to Retro Girl, and Retro Girl's like, all right, let me take you and show you what real power is, and takes her to Royale's club. But it's like, this girl, she doesn't know what she's a very confused child. She believes she has powers. She wants to have powers because she told the story about how her mom would pretend to be Retro Girl while she got beat up by her husband. Her dad would beat her, and then she would dress up as Retro Girl, say, see, I'm okay, I'm alright. And she's coming from a very fucked up home, in a very fucked up situation that was kind of handled in a very fucked up way. She's fucked up in the head. That little girl's totally fucked, super fucked in the head. So she need to get it together, because she goes to the club with Retro Girl, and she's all happy because she's in the spotlight with her. But of course, with all the parties converging there, you knew something was going to pop off. Now, interesting side note: at the party, Royale invited a couple of superheroes to the party, and one of them happened to be this guy called Righteous Thunder, who happened to have been played by this guy named Will Blagrove. Now, a lot of y'all probably don't know that name, but he's Jackson Ellis from NBA 2K15, and he's been popping up in a few movies over the last couple of years since that role on NBA 2K15. So he's gotten some traction off of that, commercials, a couple of movie spots. Now he's on this TV show Powers as a superhero called Righteous Thunder. That he's gotten some traction off of video games. So it was kind of interesting to see him pop up on a show that's hosted on the video game console. Very weird, very weird. Anyway, so everybody gets to the club, things happen, and Walker and Dina almost have the girl, but of course, they get spotted with the girl. Big whole argument ensues between the parties and all that, and it boils down to Retro Girl kind of embarrassing herself and walking away after she pushed the fan off her and told her, don't touch me, stop touching her. Which, you can't blame her, because it's like, yo, come on, back the fuck off. I know, you guys like me, I'm a hero to y'all, but god damn, give me some space. And that's one of the problems about being famous and popular, is that people tend not to understand how to accept the fact that, hey, you're actually not just a celebrity, you're also a human being too, and you deserve your space. And so I had no problem with her pushing that girl to the ground, but I understood why everybody reacted in shock and all that, because that's how people expect you to act. At all times, you're supposed to be more than willing to put up with, people crossing lines and going a little too far with their, adulation of you. It's a very thin line that famous people walk, and it's funny because it was a good thing for them to show, hey, this is what, these superheroes go through the same thing like other stars do as well. But the girl, of course, being confused as always, goes with Johnny Royale, and of course Walker flips out because he felt like he caused it to happen, because now he's trying to change his attitude and get his mind wrapping around the fact that, hey, I have to be more professional. I have to work my job like a true detective. And he's kind of, beating himself up because he wants to kind of become a cop now. He's still wrestling with the loss of his powers, but he's trying to move on from that. And I think that's why he got so upset at that point. Another thing that was interesting to saw was when they showed the guy, Trip Hammer again, do another experiment. He did an experiment with the guy who they arrested the previous episode, and it seemed to have worked. But before that, he also had an interaction with Wolf where he was giving him the lobotomy thing, and Wolf like kind of tripped out and was trying to awaken himself, and you saw him like hit his head on the ground to shake loose the instrument they used to lobotomize him, which I thought was, that in itself was nasty enough. But I was kind of freaking out for a while when he was hitting his head on the ground, because I was thinking, dude, you're gonna push this shit in your eye further. But he finally pushed it out, and it looked like he just awoken himself to his original self, which is bad news, because at the end of the show, after Royale gave the speech talking about his life, how he come from a broken family, blah 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 blah, he leaves the little girl alone, who ran into the son of the dead cop, who happened to come along and get in the club to do some graffiti. Curious to see where they're gonna go with them two now that they linked those two kids together, because he left her outside and told her to hide. Little boy was still around, and they walked off together. So trying to see where that's going to go, what's his connection, how he's gonna fit more into the story. But Royale went to go get his instrument, and the guy I forget his name. I always want to call him Multiple Man, because he reminds me of the Marvel character Multiple Man, because that's his power. He can duplicate himself over and over again. But he was like, you got 36 seconds. He was like, all right. So he went to the prison, into Wolf's cell, and you could see clearly Wolf was awakened. He's eating up motherfucking guards and shit like that. And he's like, well, are you going to let me out, Johnny? I want to go home now. So clearly Johnny did have something to do with Wolf being freed. He probably had an agreement with Wolf that he would fake his death with him, so no one would implicate him, and he'd be in the clear. There's a lot of interesting stuff, and it's kind of making me feel like one of the things that I had kind of sussed out after the first interaction with Wolf, and when they showed Royale making the drug, that somehow the boost of the powers is tied to Wolf's blood. Because I'm figuring that's what he was doing. He was going to extract blood from Wolf, and then they used that to somehow create this drug that's getting people this power boost. We'll see, though. We shall definitely see if I'm right, but I really do feel I'm right. We're also going to figure out what's the deal with him and Wolf, what's going on with that. What's up with the guy trying to take the powers? Why is he trying to take powers from them? What is his motivation? They're starting to throw some very interesting threads in here and develop some of the threads, making you develop some of the characters. So it's gaining traction. It definitely is gaining good traction so far. Pretty decent episode. Can't wait to see it really hit its stride and see where they can go with it from then. It's good that they have the original writers working on this, so they can kind of help flesh out the story a bit more. But anyway, as always, you guys hit me up, let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out. Deuces.